Hello guys, what is going on and welcome back to another Touchdowns to Home Runs. I'm your host Noah, and today what I got for you guys, I got my Heisman predictions for this 2020 college football season. The 2020 college football season is still up in the air right now with coronavirus. I've heard multiple different things. I've heard teams like Mississippi State have said Mississippi have said we're playing and we're playing with full capacity, fans in the stadium and everything. That's what I heard that they told their season ticket holders. But then you got other schools coming out and saying oh, we're not playing. Like, for example, Oregon said that we're not playing in front of fans. And even just playing in general is up in the air right now because you had schools I think it was LSU and Clemson had a bunch of athletes test positive for coronavirus. So college football is so up in the air right now, but we are begging and praying that it happens, and for you guys to lock in that there will be a college football season this season with fans in the stadiums. I need you guys to go hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done that. It would mean a lot to me and my partner Bernie. We're really working hard to grow this channel and everything, and we put out a lot of great college football content. I do more predictions based things, and Bernie does a lot of recruiting stuff. So if you want to keep up to date with your recruits and just hear other opinions on college football, this is definitely the channel for you. But without further ado, let's get started on checking out my Heisman predictions for this season. There are a ton of very talented players coming into this college football season from all conferences, from all teams and everything. There are some really talented players coming out of this year for college football, and a lot of them look to take their talents to the next level, to the NFL. But I just wanted to give you guys my top 5 guys who I think, ranked in order, who I think will have the best chance at winning the Heisman. But just before we get into that, I do have an honorable mention, as I do in most of my videos, and my honorable mention is NAJEE Harris, running back out of Alabama. 1,224 yards last year, 13 TDs, and a 5.9 average per carry. He's a great player. I know some people might disagree with me on this, but I see him as kind of a Derrick Henry kind of style running back. Some people might disagree with that. I just see NAJEE Harris as a very big-bodied, and he can run up the gut, but he's still got game on the outs. He can still rush to the outside and everything. NAJEE Harris, an amazing player. I love watching him play, even though, as you could tell, I'm a Gamecocks fan. He had probably his best play of the whole season last year, where I'm pretty sure he stiff-armed DJ Wadham, and then he hurdled one of our guys. I think it was JT eBay or something like that, but an absolutely amazing player. He will have a lot more opportunities this season with Judy gone and Ruggs gone, and probably a new quarterback. You're getting in Mac Jones, who's had some experience but still not as much as you would have had with Tua, or you're getting Bryce Young in, a completely new freshman guy. So running game for Alabama this year is definitely going to be vital for them, and I think that NAJEE Harris will definitely take advantage of this and definitely have a shot at winning the Heisman this year. Coming in at my number 5 spot, I have Travis Etienne. Now, this is shocking me that I'm even saying this. As you can see, I'm a Gamecocks fan. I said that before. But Travis Etienne is the only player on Clemson I like. I can't stand anyone else on that team. I can't stand their program in general. Gamecocks all the way. But Travis Etienne is a player that I actually like and I actually have so much respect for. He's an absolutely amazing player, and I love how he came back to spend his 4th season at Clemson. I love when players do that, even if it's just to build up draft stock and everything. I feel like 4-year players, I just love their commitment to the program and everything like that. 1,614 yards rushing with 19 TDs and a 7.8 average per carry for Travis Etienne. Absolutely amazing running back, really underrated. People don't give him credit for a lot of what he does. He's an absolutely amazing back. He does play in a weaker conference in the ACC, which will help his case. Well, not really help his case, but it'll help his stats be a lot better because he's not going up against those top-tier defenses, which will allow him to really make his stats a lot better. He will be more reliant for this Tigers offense now with T. Higgins gone. They still got Justin Ross, but still, T. Higgins was an amazing player, and they're definitely not going to have that same guy there in the receiving corps. So rushing game should definitely be more reliant on this season for that Tigers offense, and I'd love to see Travis Etienne keep getting the ball more, except against South Carolina. I don't really like seeing Clemson win at all. I never cheer for them, but Travis Etienne is the only player on Clemson. I think the only player in Clemson history, maybe DeAndre Hopkins, but Travis Etienne is the only guy on Clemson that I'll admit that I somewhat like. Great player, and I have him coming in at number 5 for chances to win the Heisman this season. Coming in at my number 4 spot, I got Chuba Hubbard, a Canadian guy, which I am Canadian from Toronto. I know he's from out in Alberta, but I'm always rooting for Canadian football players. Absolutely love that he's really broken out into the college football stardom. Had a huge season last year. He went for 2,094 yards with 21 touchdowns and a 6.4 average per carry. An amazing running back. Really takes advantage of having it being in such a strong Big 12 offensive conference where offense rules over everything in the Big 12. I think that he'll have somewhat close to the season he had last year, if not even better than what he did last year. Oklahoma State is looking like a program on the rise right now, and Chuba looks to be that guy to lead that team to success. So I can't wait to see Chuba keep playing this year. I think that he's an amazing player and will lead this Oklahoma State team to a very good position in the Big 12, whether that be a top 3 spot or maybe even winning the Big 12. He's going to carry that team, but I think that he has a legit shot at winning this Heisman this year because I said it, Big 12 is all offense. You're going against weaker defenses, and the offenses are just so stacked in that conference that I think Chuba definitely has a real shot at coming home with this Heisman this season. Number 3, I have Spencer Rattler. Now, this is kind of an underdog pick for me. Not a lot of people have him being in the top 3 for Heisman favorites this season, but I do. I've had it since like a year ago or whatever that I thought that this guy was going to be a Heisman top finalist for this season, and I would definitely bet on him. If you're going to bet, I definitely put a bet down on Spencer Rattler because his odds aren't that great right now, and I think that he has a legitimate shot at winning this, and let me tell you why. So this is going to be his first full season of playing. We saw him last year in games like he played against South Dakota. I think he played against Texas Tech, and he played in the Peach Bowl against LSU. Didn't really put up any stats that are worth noting for, so he doesn't have stats to look at right now. But Oklahoma breeds Heismans. If you look at Lincoln Riley's offense and what he's been able to do with former QBs that have gone through Oklahoma, Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray back-to-back years, those guys were both transfers coming in. They go into Oklahoma, and then that season they just explode and both become number 1 overall picks. Amazing program for QBs. Again, I said it with Chuba, playing in the Big 12. It's an offensive juggernaut. The defenses that you're going up against aren't as strong, and you just have so much talent around you on that offense, especially in Oklahoma. That's what Oklahoma specializes in every season. They do lose CeeDee Lamb, but still, their offense is still going to be amazing this year, and I do feel like Oklahoma will come away with that Big 12. I just don't think that they have the schedule. They could lose to Oklahoma State. They could lose to Texas, but I just don't see it happen. I see Oklahoma going undefeated this season, and the Big 12 is a respected enough conference for if you go undefeated and you're the QB of that team, you look like a Heisman favorite for sure. He's the highest rated QB out of that class too as well. We haven't really got to see him play to his full strengths and everything. This is his first season. This is his team, and I just think playing in that Big 12 for Spencer Rattler will really help his case, and he's an overall great quarterback, and I feel like he has a really good shot at coming away with this Heisman in his sophomore season. Now coming in at my number 2 spot, Trevor Lawrence. I said it already, I can't stand the Clemson Tigers, and I can't really stand Trevor Lawrence. I respect him, he's a great player, but I can't stand him. Last year, he put up 3,665 yards with 36 TDs and a 65.6 completion percentage. Clemson is a top 3 team this year, although how much it kills me to even say that, to entertain that thought. They are a very good team. Made the national championship last season. Trevor is also looking like the easy number 1 overall pick for the draft next year. It's basically between him and Fields, whoever really performs better in the season. The one reason I don't have him at number 1, and I'll go into some explaining with this, they play in the ACC, and the lack of strength of schedule in the ACC really hurts a Heisman. In my opinion, ability to win big games for a quarterback to win the Heisman is kind of an essential thing that you need to have if you want to really be put up in that conversation. Joe Burrow last year, I think he beat the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 teams out of the preseason poll last season. That's winning big games. He won a big game in Texas. They beat Florida at home. They won in Alabama. They were able to beat Oklahoma in the playoff game, and they were able to beat Clemson, even though those playoff games don't mean anything for the Heisman because it was already determined. But just those regular season games, there were so many big games that LSU was able to win and really put them over the top and show that Joe Burrow can perform in big games. I just don't know if we're going to see it from Trevor Lawrence this year. It doesn't matter how he plays. Like, he could play lights out every game. I think they play one big game this whole season on their schedule, and that's against Notre Dame, and that's not even a big game. If you look at what Justin Fields has to go up against, he's going up against Oregon and Penn State away. Notre Dame isn't Penn State and Oregon away. It's just a completely different atmosphere, completely different altitude of game, if I want to put it in that sense. So I think that's something that's really going to hurt Trevor Lawrence. I think it already has really hurt Trevor Lawrence in past years for Heisman voting. But just playing in the ACC, they really gotta. Lawrence has to put up really big numbers. Clemson has to go undefeated this season. And they need a team like Ohio State or Oklahoma or a team like that. Maybe even Alabama if you have Najee Harris going up for Heisman. Or Mac Jones or Bryce Young or Jalen Waddle or Devontae Smith. Any of those teams like that, they need to have a loss. So Trevor Lawrence can show, look at me, I went undefeated this season. No one else did. I was able to win every game, and all these other teams weren't. So I think that's something that needs to be key for Trevor Lawrence, is not only controlling, he has to control what he can do, but I think there's also going to be some need of help from other teams to be able to lose for him to have a shot at the Heisman this year. He's probably going to be a finalist. I'd definitely put money down on him being a finalist, no doubt. But for him to actually win it, he's going to need some teams to lose and some players to struggle for that to happen. Coming in at my number one spot, we got Justin Fields, quarterback out of Ohio State. 3,273 yards passing for 41 TDs and a 67.2 completion percentage last year for Justin Fields. Justin Fields, the transfer out of Georgia, went to Ohio State last season, played absolutely lights out, led them to the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl, but sadly lost to Clemson in a very controversial call that flipped that game around, that targeting call. In my opinion, it wasn't targeting. I didn't like the call. Well, obviously, I was cheering for Ohio State in that game. Not only because I hate Clemson, but also I like rooting for Ohio State sometimes. That just really sucked for Fields and everything. And he threw the game-ending pick. I think it was Olave in the end zone or something slipped, and then Fields let go of the ball, went right to a Clemson defender, and that was the game. So Fields is definitely playing with that chip on his shoulder. He left last season with a very bad taste in his mouth, and he's going to want to get back on this playing field. And I think that he's going to absolutely perform lights out as he did last year. You got the receivers. You got Chris Olave, a guy that I'm really, really high on this season. In my opinion, he's one of the most underrated players in all of college football. Then you got five-star Julian Fleming coming in for Ohio State, which is really going to help him. Justin Fields can also rush too. He's a good rushing quarterback. Everything about this guy, he's an all-around complete quarterback. Looking like he's going to be one of the first two quarterbacks taken off of the board. It's between him and Trevor. Whoever really outplays the other one this season will get that number one spot in the draft probably this season. Why I have Fields over Lawrence. Now, I kind of already hinted to this and talked about it in when I was talking about Trevor Lawrence. But strength of schedule. Justin Fields goes in and plays Penn State and Oregon away. Penn State is going to be a whiteout game if there's fans in the stadiums, especially with full capacity. That atmosphere is going to be absolutely insane. Same with Oregon, a very tough place to play, especially when you have to travel that far. Very tough places to play, very two hard away games. And you got Michigan at home still. Very big rivalry game, but you will have that home crowd. Just that strength of schedule. And I said it in the Trevor Lawrence thing. If you want to be able to win the Heisman, I think that you need to be able to win big games and show that you can play well in big games. And Justin Fields definitely has this schedule showing that he has a bunch of big games to play in and a lot of stats to put up in those big games. And I said it, Trevor Lawrence just doesn't really have those big games to be able to play in. He's got Notre Dame away. That's the only game. Notre Dame isn't Penn State and Oregon away. I just don't think it is. I don't think Notre Dame's that good this year, even though a lot of people have them ranked pretty high. And I am huge on Penn State this season. I'm not that big on Oregon, even though a lot of people have them high. But still going to that place, I know how hard that place is to play. and Penn State is an amazing team. I can't wait to watch them this season. But Justin Fields has that strength of schedule that if he goes undefeated and he has the stats even just nearly close to what Trevor Lawrence has, and he's undefeated and proved that he can play well in these big games, I think that Justin Fields will easily walk away with this Heisman this season. In my opinion, he's the favorite for this season. A lot of people have Trevor because I feel like Fields can slip up this season against those teams, and Ohio State will slip up against those teams. I don't see it. I do have Ohio State going undefeated this season. But everyone has their different opinions. That's what makes college football great. I got a lot of people arguing with me in the comments after my SEC and Big Ten predictions videos. They're just calling me stupid and everything, running their mouth off on me. But that's kind of what makes college football great, isn't it? Just so many different opinions. You got so many different teams, and so many people are passionate about these teams and everything. So just these real good conversations about who's going to win what and what team's better, what player's better, and all of this. This is what makes college football great, and that's what we all got to look at here. We all have our different opinions, and all our opinions is what makes college football the sport it is. So that's my video, guys. Those are my top 5 favorites for who's going to win Heisman this season. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Again, I said it already. If you're a college football fan, I promise you'll love this channel. So definitely go hit that subscribe button down below. Like the video. Comment who your favorites are, who you think is going to win, because there are a ton of other guys that I could have mentioned on here that I couldn't because I just went for my top 5 with one honorable mention. There are definitely a bunch of other guys. And thank you for watching, guys. Come back next time, and see you next time. Thank you for watching.